Today's program will be presented in Spanish and English with subtitles in Arabic or Laxis, also known as Vietnamese, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Hungarian, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Mongolian, Persian, Polish, Portuguese, Spanish, and Thai. Saludos, agraciados televidentes. Mi nombre es María Sol desde Buenos Aires, Argentina. Nuestro pueblo desea que su día se colme de paz, bendiciones divinas y alegría. Estamos honrados de tener hoy con nosotros al honorable reverendo rabino Jonathan Klein. Él es el director ejecutivo de Clero y Laicos Unidos por la Justicia Económica, CLU en inglés, y es cofundador de Faith Action for Animals, Fe en Acción por los Animales, en Estados Unidos de América. Es un ambientalista vegano y amante del misticismo judío. Las activas participaciones del rabino Klein y sus papeles protagónicos en la protección del medio ambiente y de los animales nos muestran su noble compromiso hacia la sustentabilidad, la justicia, la paz y la armonía entre todos los seres. Sus acciones positivas derivan de su fuerte fe judía y la naturaleza muy práctica de esta tradición religiosa.
Judaism has been around for a long time, and as a religious tradition, it has always centered itself around core practices. The way I understand Judaism, it's really much more about practice than it is about beliefs. But that being said, at the core of Judaism is the belief in one God, and a God for all, a God that is available for all people. At the core of Judaism is a belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all life. I was raised in a household where the idea of having compassion for all who are vulnerable was a core principle. And I understood early on with my vegetarian sister and with people around me who had a lot of love for animals that the distinction between human and non-human life was just a division that didn't mean a lot ultimately in terms of how we should interact in the world. And so for me, as a core principle, my Judaism taught me ultimately to become vegan. I think a core part of this commitment to the rights of animals to live without being interfered with by humans has been this ability to say that we're all interconnected. There's an interconnectedness between all life on this planet, and the planet itself is almost like a living entity unto itself.
Mientras la Biblia hebrea tiene historias que apoyan una dieta a base de plantas, también lo hace el mandamiento judío de Tzar Balai Haim, que significa evitar causar dolor y sufrimiento a los animales.
There's no doubt that in the Hebrew Bible, that until the story of Noah, the text is very clear. Humans were vegan. They were plant-based. Same with the animals themselves. It's interesting. In the story of Genesis, we were all created with this kind of relationship to the land, that we were sort of just living off the land and the plants that were there. But in addition, I think it's really important to understand that the Torah itself also has a deep commitment to preventing animal suffering. And that we call it Sa'ar Ba'alei Chaim. This idea of animal suffering is something that we're all required to avoid. You should not be allowed to do to the animals what we're allowed to do legally, but ethically we shouldn't ever be doing. So I don't think it may be line for line in Judaism that you that you must be a vegan, but I think the spirit of Judaism is very clear. So it's very easy to tell people, don't beat up elephants with a bullhook. Don't electrocute fur animals with electrodes. These are things that should not be on this planet. Just because we can do it does not make it right.
Hay muchas razones de por qué la gente adopta una dieta a base de plantas, y como lo explica el rabino Klein, cuando los valores esenciales de una persona están involucrados en la decisión, esta suele ser duradera.
Fundamentally, the only way I believe that someone will remain vegan and will remain plant-based and kind to animals is if the reason for becoming vegan is based on ethics and on core values. And for me, if I found out tomorrow that my life would be lengthened by eating animals, I still wouldn't do it. For me, the core principle here has to be about compassion for the struggle and the suffering of other beings. It's a disaster of the soul if you slip back into consuming animals or animal products, because you've already determined that your life is, when you do that, you're saying that your life is more important than other beings on this planet. And we don't really need to do that to live on this planet. And in fact, it puts us out of alignment with the relationships with other beings on the planet. So it has to be about ethics for me. I think that often people will come to veganism for altogether different reasons. Almost every vegan I've ever met was not born and raised as a vegan. We all go on a journey, so I don't say it to suggest any intolerance of other ways of being. But I am saying that once you do take that step forward, you really can't go backwards. Whatever gets you in the door is great, but ultimately the messaging has to go back to compassion and recognizing the sentience of other beings. And then you're going to stay that way. You'll stay vegan.
Si una persona desea ser vegana pero no es capaz de ser completamente vegana de inmediato, el rabino Klein sugiere que vaya por etapas.
It took me a little while to go vegan. I remember looking on my Facebook soon after I became vegan and back a couple years earlier, posting this idea that I was being inconsistent because I was still vegetarian, an imperfect one at that. And I knew that if I was actually to be honest with my core values, I should go vegan. But I knew it was also going to be hard because I loved all the things that non-vegans love. So I would recommend that people make a commitment to some sort of lessening of their animal intake. They can go with a meatless Monday motif, or what I would recommend is to say, okay, I am going to first be vegetarian, and then secondly, I will prevent myself from eating anything in which the primary ingredient is milk or egg. So I'll remove scrambled eggs from my diet, but I might still allow myself to have a loaf of bread that has some egg in it initially. And then say, okay, not just for products for which it's the first, couple of ingredients that are animal-based, but now I'm going after 6 months or whatever, I'm going to eliminate anything that has any of the first 5 ingredients being non-plant-based. And then at some point, your body adjusts and you no longer have the cravings because you know that your will to be a good person overwhelms your desire, your thirst for something that actually hurts animals. And so it's okay to go in stages.
El rabino Klein habla de la conexión entre el ambientalismo y el veganismo y cómo el entender que nosotros como humanos estamos vinculados con todos los seres es un punto clave en el movimiento vegano.
The thing about veganism is it really is about being at one with the planet and our surroundings. And I think that as a movement, a commitment to veganism is an extension of a commitment to environmentalism. It's a commitment to being in relationship with our surroundings. And that's a transformative movement. It's a movement that's built on redefining the norm and ensuring that it's not just about a power dynamic. A lot of movements are based on power and shifting the power from one group to another. I think of environmentalism and I think of veganism as really not being about a shift in power, but just being at one with the world around us. So I think that the different movements benefit from a rethinking that comes from the world of animal advocacy. And of course, veganism is one component of that, but a key part of it. I would extend veganism beyond merely the question of veganism to the question of how do we relate to animals, and that means entertainment, that means our relationship to clothing, all of these things. It's not okay. There's no reason that we need to hurt animals for us to live on this planet any longer. So I think that's the shift. The shift is to be connected and recognize the interconnected web of all life.
Agradecemos al Rabino Klein por su tiempo compartiendo sus perspectivas sobre el judaísmo, la protección animal y el estilo de vida a base de plantas. Para más información sobre Faith Action for Animals, por favor visite www.facebook.com/Faith Action for Animals. Compasivos televidentes, gracias por su compañía con nosotros hoy en la primera parte de nuestra fascinante entrevista con el rabino Jonathan Klein en Palabras de Sabiduría. Acompáñenos el próximo domingo para la segunda y última parte de la entrevista, en la cual el rabino Klein continuará hablando de la importancia de ser bondadosos con los animales. Por favor, sigan con nosotros en Supreme Master Television. A continuación, Claudia Rau, La vida de un pianista genio. Que los cielos bendigan su vida con compasión y amorosa amabilidad. Compassionate viewers, thanks for your company with us today for part 1 of our fascinating interview with Rabbi Jonathan Klein on Words of Wisdom. Join us next Sunday for the second and final part of the interview, in which Rabbi Klein will continue to talk about the significance of being kind to animals. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Coming up next is Claudio Rau, The Life of a Pianist Genius. May heavens grace your life with compassion and loving kindness. For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/WOW.